Welcome to Top Tier Wrestling, your ultimate destination for all things AEW and WWE. Whether you're a hardcore wrestling fanatic or just a casual viewer, we've got you covered with the latest news, in-depth show reviews, and our unfiltered opinions on everything happening in the world of professional wrestling. Join us as we dive into the high-octane action, dramatic storylines, and backstage buzz of AEW and WWE. Get ready to step into the ring with us and stay on top of the wrestling world. This is Top Tier Wrestling. Welcome to Top Tier Wrestling. I'm your host, Josh, the Phantom of Pile Drivers, and joining me, as always, is my incredible co-host, the Sorceress of Slams, Dawn. Tonight, we're covering WWE Raw from March 24th, 2025. Let's get into it.
I are Slam Sorceress.
And I am apparently the Phantom of the Pile Driver. The Phantom of the Pile Driver's here. Flatten your mind, I guess.
I love it.
Yeah, there we go. Sorry, and you're welcome.
Content.
Take your pick.
Content, folks.
But this episode, or this particular event that is WWE Raw, comes to us from the Ova Hydro Arena in Glasgow, Scotland, continuing their European tour. And, you know, damn this thing. I know he's a SmackDown superstar, but part of me expected to see Drew goddamn McIntyre.
Yeah, me too.
And he was like, "Nope, I'm hitting the pub, y'all." Now, on the whole, I would say this is a positive episode of Raw, but we have to start out with the most Debbie Downer, depressing opener since last Monday's John Cena promo, and that's we're starting the show with John Cena's promo, and they start his opening music, and the entire crowd is like, Cena sucks, you know, and he takes his time walking to the ring, all mopey like Eeyore. He's like Eeyore, and he finally gets in there and finally is going to talk. And he's like, "Is there something on your mind?" Like he's speaking with a weird cadence. See,
yes.
Like there's something you want to say to me. And I'm like, is your heel turn Dr. Evil? What are we doing?
See, as soon as I heard him talk, I was like, the hell is this accent he's doing? What is this?
Yeah, it was so strange. And he tried to make a point in this promo that, like, you know, I got you all figured out. You know, when I do this, you do that. And he gives several examples, and the crowd starts, as he's giving each example, they're like, "What?" And he says, "When I speak in rhythmic tones, what? You say what? What?" So it's like, oh, you got him. You got him there, Cena. And the long story short, which I wish to God the WWE would do, because these long, droning promos that have 5 minutes of shit to say that go on for like 20, 30 minutes. And that last promo that John Cena did actually cost two women's matches on the card because it ran long. I don't know if tonight's is going to have the same story behind it, like where, oh, well, John Cena took like 8,000 years too long, so I guess we're cutting 2 or 3 matches down. But at any rate, here's his overall point. He says, I figured out that one of the things you hated that I did was when I made the spinner championship, the turntable championship or whatever. And he said, you know, that everyone told him loud and clear it was stupid because he changed the championship into a toy, and it's clearly not a toy, and that it represents legacy, and he doesn't, the crowd doesn't like it being disrespected. So he goes on to say, well, you done screwed up. Now that I know that that's what you care about, I'm going to make sure I win, the 17th championship, and you can finally forget the name of, Fun Machine Jet flying woo Ric Flair, and you'll have to forever say the name John Cena.
Goodness.
But
I mean, yeah. Go ahead.
moving on from that, he goes on to say that once he, wins the belt, he's going to retire with it, and so he's going to be the last one that holds this storied legacy, and they'll have to make some new belt that doesn't have all that history. And I'm like, you could have led with that, bro.
Yeah. Yep.
Like, you didn't need the long, droning, haha, so I understand your psychology so super well that I can play you like a fiddle, basically, and it's like, all he really wanted to say is he's going to take the championship and go home. And screw you guys, I'm going home, and I'm taking your little belt with me. That was the long and the short of this whole stupid freaking promo. How long did it take me to say that? What are we, like 5 minutes into this podcast?
Yep.
Nailed it. John Cena, can't you do this? And I'm super not loving these two long, just really unnecessarily long for the sake of long promos from John Cena. Like, it's almost like his heel thing is to waste our time. And it was the same crap with the Rock's promos leading up to Elimination Chamber.
Oh
I
my
hated those
gosh.
as well because it was just him talking to hear the sound of his own damn voice.
Yeah.
And he's like, I'm an improv master. No, you're damn well not. Not when you're trying to say too much. Why don't you stick to your catchphrases? Those worked.
Yeah.
So, not a fan. I'm if other people are out there like fucking getting their rocks off to this shit, more power to you. But I am hating this stuff, and it's not the right kind of hate. It's not like, ooh, I really want to see Cody beat his ass because there's so much heat because he beat him down with The Rock. This is like, Jesus Christ, you make me wish that Cody would fucking leave. If The Rock and John Cena are what he's bringing us lately, just go. Take the belt and leave because you are eating up TV time with nothing but boredom. It's making me like Cody less that these are the assholes that he's got to be fighting. Shit, I'd rather see Roman and Cody again than this. This is terrible. And I mean, it's such a damn shame because you have Cody Rhodes in a feud with two guys who are known talkers, and all they are doing is bombing. And it's the worst. It's go away heat. It makes me want to like fast forward through it. I mean, we're watching it on Netflix like an hour after it starts before we cut this podcast. So I can skip a lot of the stuff, including the exhaustive number of commercials, by the way. And that's a whole separate conversation I'll get into. But these promos are ridiculous. They're terrible. And the fact that it's coming from two guys who are renowned for their promo abilities and are just bombing out. Like, I get that The Rock and Cena are, like, Cena for sure has said that this is his last run. So, like, if there's some sort of like, oh, well, at least when you go away, no one will be sad that you left. This has become like, instead of a farewell tour, it's a good riddance tour.
Yeah.
And not because he attacked our guy, Cody Rhodes, but because he assaulted our interest directly. Like, it makes me want to turn it off or skip it or something.
Yeah.
So that's my impression of this promo. It was so bad. And then ultimately Cody comes out and he says, "What did you say?" And we about jumped at the screen like, dude, Cody, do not make this slow drawling freaking bore fest repeat itself. Fuck.
Yeah, if I may.
Yeah, go ahead.
For me, I just want to talk about John Cena's part because I think I figured out what was getting on my nerves about it. So it felt more like a breakup with a narcissistic, creepy boyfriend. At first, I thought my issue with his promos were that they were boring, and they are. But they also reminded me of my childhood, no joke. Like dealing with my mom because she used to do the wear you down tactics. And it was never about her being heard. It was never about her feeling understood. It was just about making the person she was talking at feel bad. That was it. And it didn't work. It didn't work on me when my mother did it, so it certainly won't work on me coming from John Cena, right? It's like it's doing what it did when my mother used to do it. Because she would go on like a 3 sentence tirade that she stretched into a 3 hour attack. You know what I mean? Like, so she found a
Yeah.
way to just recycle these 3 statements, like 3 sentences that she just found a way to say in different ways for about 3 hours until finally I was supposed to just give in, feel bad, tuck my tail between my legs, and go to my room and sulk. Which the older I got, the less that would be something that would happen. Because I started to think about what was said to me. You know, in this case, it makes me feel like it's like the same thing is happening here. So maybe the issue isn't like just that it's boring. Maybe he's just too good at the character that he's attempting to get across. And if that's the case, I'm not sure I'm not sure this type of heel is a good thing. Okay, we're getting to go away, like actual go away heat.
Yeah, I don't know if I would credit it with character work so much as just a lack of like being able to make 5 seconds worth of content stretch out to 30 minutes.
Yeah.
Because here's kind of the difference. I mean, like the Rock's promos were both incoherent and long and droning. At least John Cena seems to have an overall point. The problem is that he takes so long to get to it and he belabors the shit out of it.
Yeah.
I mean, I get what he's trying to say. It's not a deep message. It's just that he takes so long trying to make it feel more impactful, and it's just by virtue of it being long and belabored.
Yeah.
Like, I summarized what he was trying to say just here, and I mean, he could have said it much more succinctly.
Yeah.
It's just that it's like a time-wasting drill. And it doesn't make it more epic that it's just him out there going on and on for like the first 20 minutes to half hour of the show.
It sure
Also,
don't.
As the opener, it absolutely sucked the oxygen out of the room.
Yeah, because
like after that,
it was just a downer.
Well, after that promo, yeah, because the audience is literally bored and annoyed at this point.
Yeah.
And it's like, can I just skip this? Like, I promise you, I'll have to read about whatever John Cena says next, because if he comes out on the next Raw or the next SmackDown, I'm fast forwarding through that shit.
Yeah.
I'm not here to have my time fucking wasted. I don't watch this product for it to waste my time and make me feel like that. Like, it's okay if I'm disappointed that my favorite superstar didn't win, or if a heel does something bad. But this is quite literally actively wasting our time. Yeah. And it's not interesting. It's not what I started a wrestling podcast to talk about. And this is the kind of shit that kills me wanting to be a part of this product. Fortunately, it was only in the first 20 minutes and we got through it, and it picks up after this, but this was a show killer. Yeah. And that's not a good thing. Like, literally, this is go away heat. A good heel makes me want to see him get beaten. What is happening with John Cena and The Rock right now is I want them to leave, because what they're bringing to the table is fucking trash.
I do not disagree. I'm surprised at how bad these promos are. Like, legit surprised.
Yeah, again, my issue isn't with the content. My issue is with it taking a super long time and just sucking the air out of the show. Like, it's not interesting, is what I'm saying. It is not at all entertaining or insightful or intriguing in any way.
No, like seriously, he is creating. Oh, they also talked about some where I guess he attacked some kid or something on social media. Guys, I do not follow social media, like literally at all, so I don't know what they're talking about. Man, and to be perfectly honest, I doubt that it would change my view. It might actually, it might actually make my view of what he's doing a bit stronger. It's just it's not the right kind of heat.
Yeah, I agree.
And maybe that's me. Again, I don't really follow social media. I don't know what everybody else is saying. I'm saying from my point of view, it just didn't feel like the right kind of heat, and it hasn't since he started this. It just does not feel like the right kind of heat, man. It just feels like if it honestly just feels like uh a dude who's legit bitching about his like shit. Like he's legit. It just sounds like he's legit bitching. Like 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 he's like he has. Honestly, I'm trying to figure out how else to say it or how best to put it. But to me, it just sounds like and feels like he's just legit bitching, and it sounds like a superstar whining, and it's the wrong kind of heat, especially if he's not doing anything physical with anyone. Um, especially if he is confronted by Cody Rhodes on 2 or 3 different occasions and then just walks out or stays silent. Um, like it's
Yeah.
just it's weird, awkward, like what's going on heat, and it's almost like Cody Rhodes comes out and tries to give him something, and he just leaves or walks out, and
Yeah.
and it's like, man, so like Cody is really working hard here to make this thing something, and this dude just comes in here, looks like a fucking I don't know. He looks like a just looks like a disgruntled Kmart shopper, and then leaves. Like that's
Yeah.
it.
I so to follow through for our listeners, what
Yeah,
ended up happening next was Cody finally came out, and he could have come out, I don't know, 25 minutes sooner, and that would have been a good thing.
legit. What I
Um,
said.
but even what his stuff was like, it seemed awkward because like he kind of pivoted or walked back what he said from the first promo where he said, this limp dicked John Cena is just going to get beat. Here he's like, oh, maybe I didn't look hard enough. Hearing it, seeing it now, you're clearly angry and clearly willing. I don't know about willing. What is he willing to do but waste our time? So they're
Yeah,
like, perhaps you're the most dangerous John Cena has ever been. Only dangerous if, like, it's a threat to WWE that the WWE universe starts turning the channel.
yeah.
Um,
Seriously, it's just not the heat that you would expect from John Cena going heel. I
mm-mm.
was hoping for
And
over
not
the
in a
top.
good way.
Yeah, I was hoping for over the top. I was hoping for charming, just heel. Um, I was hoping for anything else other than what sounds like a very angry, disgruntled actor about to retire.
Yeah, I mean, it's just not that interesting. At this point, John will flash that sign that's like, this is the last time. And I'm like, well, too bad the last time wasn't the previous time because this time sucks.
Yeah,
Um, I mean, legit, like it doesn't make me want to see this match coming up with Cody Rhodes at this point. It just makes me want that to just disappear off the card for WrestleMania.
yeah,
Because it's killed my interest in Cody Rhodes' little title belt at this point. It's killed
yeah,
my interest in John Cena potentially becoming the 17-time champion. It's killed
yeah.
my interest in the angle with The Rock. So all they've done is suicide this whole shit out, and it's like, are you trying to bury Cody Rhodes, or is this all coming from The Rock because he's pissed off that they didn't do Rock and Roman last year? I mean, what?
Yeah, I
Like,
don't know, but I think the only person that this is really going to bury is John Cena. I think this is just going to ruin his retirement run, honestly, because uh man, I think what's going to end up happening is he won't even get the heat of the boo. I think he's just going to get uh the go away chance because it's it's going to be the same thing, and literally I wish that I were uh exaggerating when I say that what he said tonight was legit what he said, or an extension of what he said last week. um but I'm not, like it was legit just an extension. It was just It was legit like, and another thing, I talked about this last week, and when I did talk about that, I forgot to talk about this, but I'm gonna add this to what I talked about last week. But here's some more about last
Yeah.
week, and it
Yep.
was like, oh
Well,
man,
that's what I mean. Like it was repetitive because like the first portion of this whole crap was John Cena reinforcing how terrible the fans are, which I thought he got out of his system last week. And
no,
so
guess
really
not.
when I say there was only like one like a very small amount of new content that he addressed, it was that his intention is to win the championship belt and then retire with it and be like, haha, fuck all of you.
Oh
And
yeah,
he could have gotten to that much quicker. So like there was a whole lot of repeating and belaboring that the fans are terrible and he knows how they think and how they tick and blah blah blah. And it's like
which by the
you did
way,
a lot of that last week.
yeah, which by the way, if you were like if any fan were to sit and really think about what he just said, he literally told you he's not going to win. Because his plan is to take that belt and go somewhere and sit down with it, and that's it. You know that's not gonna happen. Uh, you, you know that championship belt is gonna. You know Cody's gonna keep that belt. Unless
Yeah.
they're thinking of literally doing away with that belt. They're retiring the championship, okay, and coming up with something brand new. Which that would why what?
I don't know, but I mean, here's the problem. Ultimately, and this is the point I just made, they've killed my interest in caring. Like,
Yeah,
I was much more interested in where we might have been heading with, like, Roman Reigns coming back and him putting together the OG bloodline, and then you had the Splinter Sect
yeah,
bloodline from Solo, and instead we pivoted to what? This bullshit? Hell, I would have been fine if, at this point, in retrospect, and maybe this was their plan all along, I would have been fine with watching Cody go against CM fucking Punk versus this.
yeah.
Now consider what I have just said to you to understand the level of how much this sucks ass.
Yeah, but I mean, at least at least if CM Punk was involved in this little scuffle, at least we would be seeing some bouts, some matches, some fights,
Yeah, no,
some
that's my point. But I mean, I said that with
yeah,
the
yeah,
intent
yeah.
of
That
I'm
it's
not a
CM
big
Punk.
CM
I
Punk
know,
fan, right?
I know. Yeah,
It's not
yeah.
a ding on CM Punk. I'm saying me as not a CM Punk fan, I'd rather see Cody Rhodes versus CM Punk than whatever this crap is turned
I
into.
would absolutely love to see CM Punk versus Cody Rhodes over this. I mean, they could have done away with this bullshit. Uh, found a way to do something else with John Cena on his farewell tour, and gotten CM Punk out of the mix when it came to Seth and Roman, so that we can finally have that match, and then CM Punk and Cody Rhodes could have gone after each other.
Yeah, and
Uh,
I don't know, part of me feels like you're burying Cody Rhodes here. Because
yeah, you're not giving him nothing.
in theory, you have Cody Rhodes, who is now in an angle for WrestleMania involving two of what were formerly the best talkers in the game. And they have dumbed their shit down to terrible to what? Make Cody look good? Because that's
Yeah,
what you're tacitly kind of telling me is that old Thuffer and Thuckatash Cody Rhodes needs the two best talkers in the game to drop down to like little league level of fucking promos in order to make him shine? Or that you don't think he's worth your best and can't hang with you? Like, that is kind of what you're sending the message on. And it's just making this whole angle, like, fucking suck for Cody. Like, not in the kayfabe. I'm saying, like, him as a performer. This is tanking everybody involved.
yeah. Um, I see. I think the problem. Well, first, you're correct when it comes to Cody Rhodes and like his heat with The Rock. Boy, that's a grown separate to what I'm about to say about John Cena. The problem with his shit is that honestly, he's given Cody nothing. He's not giving him nothing to work with. Cody, it's like Cody has tried to engage with this dude. Even in this promo here, it got down to it where he was like, he put the belt down on the mat and was like, you want this belt? Come get it. He's trying everything.
Yeah.
And what does John Cena do? Like, so I'm not understanding what we're supposed to be doing here.
Yeah, John just drops his mic, looks like he might fight, and then turns and walks out of the ring.
Yeah, see, I'm sorry, not see. Cody Rhodes yells for him. He stops. He turns around. For some reason, he starts walking all fast back. Stops. Turns back around and leave. I'm like, bro, get the fuck. What is Cody supposed to do with this? Whether or not you dumb down your promos for his sake is irrelevant if you don't even fucking engage.
Yeah.
Like, if you just look at him and then turn around and walk off and then fake come back and then leave. What the fuck? What are we doing, man? What are we doing? It's a month away. Less than a month away. What are we doing? They have this show and what? Like 3 more? Or 2 more? No, it's like 3 more. Like
maybe 2 or 3. Yeah, it's just slightly under a month away till Mania.
Yeah, like 2 or 3 more, and then that's it. What the hell? You give us all these commercials. You could have been cutting some better promos, because if that's what you're gonna give us, then consider what the fuck you're giving us.
Yeah, no, like I said, this is committing 2 cardinal sins. One, it's an entertainment product, WWE in theory, that is just boring. I mean, that's the real sin here, is that this shit was just boring and ate up time. It wasn't interesting. Yeah. It's not generating interest in me anyway. It's not generating heat of the right nature. And the second worst cardinal sin is that it's killing any interest I had in Cody Rhodes' championship match for WrestleMania. Like, at this point, I could give a shit. I'm vastly more interested in literally every other match that I know is on that card at this point.
Yeah.
So, I felt that way in the lead up to, like, oh, Cody, I want your soul with The Rock. And the cool thing that happened was when The Rock came out, asked Cody very succinctly, what's your answer? And then he didn't say shit else. It was just John Cena beating his ass along with, like, that idiot rapper guy. And I call him an idiot because apparently he actually legit hurt Cody Rhodes in the ring, so he didn't really have a reason to be there other than they're trying to drop names like a pathetic loser at a party who's like, I met somebody at a convention once.
Like, seriously. Me and Travis Scott had launched name drop.
Yeah, do you have so little faith in the draw of your own superstars that you need to pander like the worst name droppers of Hollywood? I mean, it's gotten kind of pitiful. But that's pretty much the long and the short of it. Like, the opener to this was just terrifically bad, and I would recommend anybody who hasn't seen Raw, like, watch that at your own risk. But you would honestly be better off skipping directly to the first match of the night. Because from there, the show picks back up and actually turns itself around. I don't know that I'm going to be able to give this a top tier because this promo sank a giant hole in it so bad. But the rest of the show, if the promo hadn't been in there, it'd be top tier. I'll say that.
Yeah.
But unless you have more you want to add, I kind of want to move away from this.
No, let's.
I think I've said enough about how much it was terrible.
Yeah.
So moving forward into the first match, almost as if they realized that this was going to just kill the energy for the entire show, they give us something that will renew the energy. And we get main event Jey Uso coming out. And he's in a tag match with A-Town Down Under. And it turns out his mystery partner is none other than Jimmy Uso. So, surprise, we get the Usos in a tag match with A-Town Down Under. And we get Jimmy and Jay both yeeting their brains out in... And if this had been the start of the show, it would be amazeballs. I mean, I would like to
Yeah.
pretend that the whole first part just fell off the face of the earth, honestly. So moving to this, we ended up with a pretty fabulous match and a real nice treat. In that we're getting to see the Usos tag together again, and it's magic.
Yeah.
Do you want to say some stuff about this match?
Um. Yeah. It was. First of all, we were just talking about Jimmy, uh, and wondering where he's gonna go, but just seeing him again with with Jay, which I think we haven't seen. I think they said in about a year and a half. It's been a year and a half since they've tag teamed together. And I think that's what Michael said, because I mean he kept talking about it a lot.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah, it sure has been a minute, that's for sure.
yeah, so it was good to see them together again. Um, we did joke about Jimmy, about Jimmy he has to get his ass beat for like 2 or 3 minutes in the match. He just has to have a solid beating, in almost every match. Um, but
That's
was
true. That's it. This one kind of worked that way too. Yeah.
yeah. But aside from that, um, it was still a very fun match. It lifted the cloud that John Cena left over the audience. Um, as I think they knew it would. Um, So yeah, I just want to I just want to say that I thought it was fun, and I wish that they had opened up with that, and then just found a way to put John Cena's weird 15-20 minute bitch fest into the show somehow, I guess. But it was so unimportant. He could have done that as a TikTok rant or something.
Yeah, I would have
That
preferred that.
Yeah, that he just put online, that would have been better than him just just
Wasting TV time for it.
yeah,
Yeah.
putting this cloud of just ick on the whole show.
Yeah, as the show opener, it set the tone. I will say though that I feel like this first match with the high energy of the Usos and getting to yeet kind of wiped it clean. I think it did a remarkable job considering the trash that had come before it.
True. Yeah, true. So you go ahead, take over, and if you'd like to talk more about this match, you know me, I'm just gonna say, yee, it was fun, yeet. That's
It
me.
was. I mean, that's important. This should have been the show opener. It really should have.
Yeah,
Because that would have set the tone so high, and the crowd would have been so full of pop and ready to just go. It would have been perfect.
yeah,
Um, as it stands, it was still really freaking good. And it was really cool getting to see the Usos come back again, and they were hitting off all kinds of double team maneuvers. Um, they were hitting like double elbow drops and a double elbow knockdown. And let's see, I'm just going to cover some of the highlights. Some of the high spots were when Jimmy and Jay, like Jimmy popped up. I want to say it was Austin Theory, but it was one of them. Whether it was Waller Theory is kind of irrelevant. But he pops up his opponent over the top of him, and Jay immediately speared speared the guy, and that was fantastic.
yeah.
And the other like really good high spot in this particular match was they ended up picking up the win with a perfectly executed 1D. And so for they must still practice with each other because they haven't teamed on television as far as I know for a long time, but they clearly still train together because they did not miss a beat.
Yeah.
And to kind of fill in the gaps from, you know, just those high spots. Like you said, there was a long part. Like when it first opened, there was several double teams, and Jay was the first legal man, and Jay dominated while he was in there. Then he tags in Jimmy, and there's this long portion of the match where, and this is pretty much where A Town Down gets to like do any of their stuff, is that they pretty much take Jimmy, lock him off, you know, in their corner and beat on him, like you said, for a good several minutes. And then we kind of come back around to where they're able to get Jay back in the match. And once they do, Jimmy and Jay kind of take over, and it leads to their victory. And then in the post match, Jimmy and Jay are celebrating, and Gunter attacks Jimmy, sending him outside of the ring. And then he steps in and tries to attack Jay, but Jay, you know, isn't having it and starts, you know, beating his ass. And he gets the one up on Gunter and sends Gunter reeling into the corner. And then he goes to the corner to hit what is like a corner spear, you know, a la his cousin Roman Reigns. But then when he goes to take off running, he trips and falls. And that just makes Gunter laugh, and Gunter just leaves the ring because Jimmy's now come back in. And so you end up finishing off with Jimmy and Jay kind of sitting in the middle of the ring as Gunter is laughing at them walking away. And at the time when we were watching it, I said, you know, that's 2 for 2. Are they selling some kind of angle that Jay is, you know, filled with so much self-doubt that he's screwing up, you know?
Yeah.
Because there was the dive that he bricked last Monday coming over the top rope. And now he's tripped. So, like, we've watched Jay wrestle for a couple years now.
Yeah.
And this makes us feel that this is intentional. Or that it's some sort of angle that they're trying to position, like where Jay is just too in his own head, or too filled with doubts that he's now, you know, screwing up.
Yeah.
But to end, you know, the ending of that match, the Usos won via pinfall, which led us into, after that, a segment with the Judgment Day, and Dominic Mysterio has been feeling bad about costing Finn Balor the Intercontinental Championship. He's mentioning this to Liv, because it's Liv, Raquel, and Dom walks up with Carlito. And Liv says that Finn is always blaming someone else for his problems. Although, to be fair, like, legitimately, Dominic looked like he cost him that title.
Yeah, well, he did. Yeah.
And so then Liv says, what we should be, you know, doing is hyping up Raquel, because she's got a championship match. I believe it's the Intercontinental Championship with Lyra Valkyrie later this evening. And she goes on to say she wants Daddy Dom to talk to Penta, because Dom again says that he thinks, you know, he should invite Penta into the Judgment Day, but Finn doesn't like it. And she more or less says, well, you know, you got me into the Judgment Day and you didn't think anybody would want me in there. And same with Carlito, you know, so trust your instincts, regardless of how Finn feels. And then we move on from there to a hilarious vignette that looked like it was comprised of AI art, but it's this art like with a narration that's talking about the legend of El Grande Americano, the greatest luchador ever.
And he hails from the Gulf of America.
The Gulf of America. And he was raised to become the ultimate luchador. And for many years, he was the face of Lucha Libre. And that the legend has returned to bring honor and glory back to this beautiful sport. He is an icon, a trailblazer. He is El Grande Americano. And this had us rolling. I mean, that was so hilarious.
Absolutely.
For anybody who's not clear on it yet, like, this is the whole angle of, like, the character that is clearly not Chad Gable in a luchador mask. And it's fantastic. Like, it is comedy gold. And super welcome. Again, we're not so far away from the opening of the show that I did not appreciate this humor.
Yeah.
And then following that, Adam Pearce informs the Latino World Order, who
Hmm.
had apparently witnessed this El Grande Americano thing, and they're like, "What the fuck is this?" They didn't say that, or if they did, they said it in Spanish, so it was fine. But they were like, basically, "What the hell, Adam?" And Adam says, "Well, El Grande Americano is the newest superstar joining the Raw roster," and Rey Mysterio is outraged and believes that it's Chad Gable. But then Chad Gable shows up and he's got a little tissue and he's coughing. And then he hands a note to Adam Pearce saying, "Sorry, he won't be able to make his match tonight. He's got a doctor's note. He got sick on the flight over." And Ray tells Gable that he'll see him in the parking lot, and Gable suggests that Dragon Lee fights El
Jesus.
Grande Americano instead. And so Pierce makes the match official, and it'll be Dragon Lee versus El Grande Americano.
Gracias.
after after Pierce makes it official, Ray calls Gable a jackass, and Pierce is clearly skeptical of the doctor's note.
Oh my God. Gracias.
Oh,
Gracias.
that was gracias. That was great. I'm a huge fan of everything that was. That was
absolutely.
just
Yep.
fun, good wrestling stuff. Because I've always found that pro wrestling has a little bit of a kind of cheesiness to it, and there's fun cheesy, and then there's like some stuff that's just dumb, and I guess it's a matter of opinion and taste. But this was amusing to me. I found that really, really funny. Which leads us into our second match, which is the aforementioned Raquel Rodriguez with Liv Morgan versus Lyra Valkyria for the WWE Women's Intercontinental Championship. And I will turn it over to you if you would like to comment on this match.
Yeah. I think this is probably the first time that I've seen Raquel in the in the ring since NXT, since her NXT days. And I thought to myself, yes, this is good. She did moves that were very dominant. I mean, she was manhandling Valkyria at some points. And it looked real good. There was one move where I think Lyra was gonna do a move from the top rope, the corner, and I think that's where she was. And when she was like basically going forward with the move, I think Raquel gave her a big boot
out of the air.
Like she just said, fuck you and oxygen. You don't, never the two shall meet. And so she basically kicked all oxygen right out the body. Like, nope. No, not today.
Yeah, that was one of the high spots that I had in my notes too, because that kick was vicious. Like, Lyra ended up just laying flat, like burr. Afterwards she was done.
Yeah, there were several points in this match, and I'm sure you have them. So I'm gonna let you take the floor here in a secunde. But there were several spots here where Raquel looked very dominant, and maybe that's one of Lyra's superpowers. Maybe she makes bigger opponents look ridiculously dominant in the ring. Maybe she sells these moves very well because we were just reminded of a match that she had with Nia Jax. Where boy, she made Nia look. I mean, it's not hard, right, to make Nia look like alpha dog dominant. It's not
like
hard.
An unstoppable force. Yeah.
Yeah, but Lyra made her look like frightening. And she kind of did that here, man. She made Raquel look good. And Raquel freaking rocked it. This is like I said, this is the best that I've seen Raquel, the most dominant I have seen her since they've brought her to WWE. And that's all I'm gonna say about that. I actually enjoyed this. This was a pretty good match. Better than I thought it was gonna be. A lot better than I thought it was gonna be. Your thoughts?
I agree with you. It was a good showing for Raquel. I think what made her look dominant was kind of she set the tone right out the gate because Valkyria attempts to go like right at the beginning. She attempts to go for like a go behind waist lock,
Yeah.
and Rodriguez just reaches back and grabs Valkyria by the head and slings her across the ring.
Yeah.
And then she attempts to go after the legs of Raquel. I think it might have been like a drop toe hold. And Raquel just like planted her foot and said no.
Yeah.
And then Rodriguez grabbed hold of her, and this time it was just under her arms, but sometimes she'll do it like from almost like a front chancery kind of pose.
Yeah.
But she grabbed Lyra under her arms and started giving her kind of almost like a giant swinging front face lock, and then yeeted her.
Yeah.
And then she posed, and so I mean, she set the tone early on. She also went for that big, like double choke that looks like it's a great setup for a choke bomb, but for whatever reason, Raquel always dumps the opponent into the turnbuckle instead of just slamming them straight down into the mat, which would be so much better.
Yeah.
In my opinion, like I would love to see her just body somebody like that. I feel like it's kind of a cop out in some respects to do those throws into the turnbuckle because they don't have to fall that far and they mostly land on their feet. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And if you really need them in the corner, like slam them into the ground, pick them up, and throw them into the corner. Like do that. I'd really like to see you make them take that bump because you're huge and use your size to your advantage. It makes you look tremendous.
Yeah.
That said, we had that was early on, and then it sort of becomes more back and forth because obviously Lyra, as the champ, can't just sit there and eat Rodriguez beating the life out of her. But it is worth noting, like the high spots that I had for the rest of the match was that kick that you were talking about because it was ridiculous. Like Lyra looked like she might have been trying for maybe a flying clothesline or even a double axe handle. I'm not sure because she was mostly upright when she leapt at Rodriguez. But then Rodriguez just booted her out of the air, and so she flat backed the bump on that, and Lyra was just like, "Bark."
Yeah.
And later in the match, there was a really good move that Rodriguez did where she did like a slingshot, either power slam or jackhammer. I wasn't sure which it would be because it could go either way.
Mhm.
But it looked amazing. She basically bounced Lyra off the top rope into either into a power slam, whether you want to call that a jackhammer or just a power slam. Choice is yours. But it was fantastic. It was just a really nice power move that she did, and it was great. And so those were kind of the two big those are kind of the big high spots that I recall. And then I want to say that as the match proceeds, Rodriguez attempts to go for the Tejana bomb, but Valkyria like reverses it into a like roll up pin that Rodriguez just can't escape from. And so she picks up the win by quick counter pin. And then after the match, Liv Morgan attacks. Oh, there was also a part where Liv Morgan was standing outside the ring and she pulled Raquel Rodriguez's boot onto the bottom rope.
Yeah.
And the ref didn't see it, but Lyra was pretty sure it had happened. So later on in the match, she does a diving drop kick through the middle ropes and just flattens the little gremlin that is Liv Morgan. That was fantastic too. But so after this match, Liv attacks Lyra Valkyria from behind, and then like her and Raquel start just beating Lyra's ass. and outruns Bailey, who storms into the ring. And Bailey pretty quickly dispatches Liv Morgan with like a middle rope stunner. And then I want to say Rodriguez attempts to try and Tejana bomb Bailey, but Lyra pulls Bailey back down, and then both Bailey and Lyra dump Rodriguez over the top rope. And then Bailey and Lyra like share a fist bump as Bailey hands the championship back to Lyra Valkyria, and that's how they close out that match. And it was pretty good. I mean, I didn't think Lyra Valkyria was going to lose to Rodriguez, so I wasn't sure. I mean, I didn't feel like that was happening, so I just hoped for a good match, and I feel like we got a good match. And I hope Rodriguez continues to be able to shine in the spot that they're giving her.
Yeah, for sure.
And Lyra Valkyria is like, she's fantastic, especially for someone who just came up from NXT not that long ago.
Yeah. I think she has it. She's one of those wrestlers that's got the it.
Yeah. I definitely think she's good in the ring. If I had to pick on one thing about Lyra Valkyria, and this isn't like a smarmy pick. Like, I'm not going to be like, oh, Bird Girl or anything like that. Like legitimately, it's just the one thing that bothers me about her is that her move, the Nightwing, she often delivers it what I feel is too safe or not enough impact. Like, she doesn't seem to drive her opponent into the mat with as much force as that move could be done with.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's it. If she changed that to make it look like it's actually a move that I think could finish the match, I would be on board. It would be like if Bianca Belair did the KOD, but gently placed, like you could see her cradling the chin and gently placing them upon the mat. That's how I feel about Nightwing.
Okay.
And it's the opposite of how Bianca delivers the KOD, where she slams the holy shit out of people. Like, the KOD is probably the move that she delivers with the most impact. So, that's my only request. If Nightwing's going to be your finisher, then it has to be something that makes me, as the fan watching, believe that that's, it's over because you just hit her with your best shot. Like, she is dead, your opponent.
Yeah, I agree.
All right, and moving on from there, for an extended period of time, if I recall correctly, Michael Cole congratulated Pat McAfee for selling out his big night AHT event, and Pat McAfee then kind of like appealed to the crowd for a very, very long time. My apologies, but I ended up fast forwarding through a lot of it because this feels like it's just like promotion for stuff that's not why I'm watching this show. I mean, no offense to Pat McAfee and congrats on his thing, but like, I'm here to watch Raw. I'm not here to watch an excessive number of, LFG and Evolve and commercials, and that you've made, belts for soccer and just so much stuff that has nothing to do with the show that I am currently watching.
Yeah.
Even if it's tangentially related to wrestling, it's, if it's, what are you going to tell me next? You're going to take 20 minutes out of the show to tell me about how Michael Cole, like, is a used car salesman now or something? It's like, it's not relevant to the product that I'm looking at right now. So, moving on from that, there's a video recap of the contract signing with the WWE Women's World Champion, Io Sky, Bianca Belair, and Rhea Ripley. And instead of it just kind of being the recap of the events of the actual signing, they go and recap like everything since Rhea lost the belt. And it's like, okay.
Yeah.
So at this point, I mean, between the John Cena promo and all of this like in-show recapping, like I mentioned earlier, all of like the commercials and the cross-promotional stuff was wearing me thin. Like, this is about the point where my patience was wearing out and I was getting real trigger happy with that fast forward 10 seconds button on Netflix. because it's like I saw it. I feel like this level of recap is you punishing me for watching the product, both SmackDown and Raw, week in and week out, because you are wasting so much time showing me shit you showed me last week that it's like, dude, seriously. So, we also get notified that the natural disasters are the latest inductees to the 2025 WWE Hall of Fame. Congratulations. And we finally make it to a relatively interesting and relevant segment of tonight's Raw. And if you'd like, I'll let you speak to it because it's fun stuff.
Yeah. We see Jimmy sitting and talking to Jay in the backstage area. And Jimmy addresses the mistakes that he's seen from Jay. And Jay basically says like he knows where Jimmy's coming from, and the truth is Jay doesn't know if he can beat Gunther. And Jimmy says you can't. And so Jay looked at him and was like, man, look out. Like he's about to leave. And Jimmy grabs his arm and holds him, turns him around. It's like, man, hold up. He's like, you can't beat him. Not this version. And he gives Jimmy a pedo boss. Like only a sibling could tell another sibling what he told him, like especially a twin. Like he went straight for the soul when it came to what to say to his brother, and it was so good. I'm let me see. I'm trying to think if was there anything. He tells him. Jimmy says that this version of Jay can't get the job done, but the right hand man can. The Uso Jimmy needs to see in the guy that became main event Jey Uso. The guy that won the Royal Rumble, and he's like talking to him and hyping him up, and the audience is starting to go crazy.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And then he basically tells, like, I think they saw Gunther, and Jimmy looks at Jay and says basically, so like, I got you, or something. We all remember the iconic "I got you" with the super kick.
Yeah.
But so you always know some smoke. He's about to get some smoke whenever he says some shit like that. So he's got his fist all balled up like he's mad. He's about to protect his or his little brother or something. He goes around the corner and he yells at Gunther. And Gunther comes back and he basically challenges Gunther to a match next week. And Gunther said that he would accept Jimmy's challenge as long as he doesn't trip like his brother. And Jimmy slapped the taste, the flavor, the moisture, plaque, anything. He slapped everything that was inside of Gunther's mouth right out.
He slapped the Austrian off of Gunther. It was
for a second.
Slap.
For a second, Gunther got his Austrian. He got his nationality mixed up and started speaking with an Australian accent in his brain. Like, for a second, that he got slapped and he was like, "G'day, mate."
Oh no! Now he's part of A-Town Down Under.
He had to shake himself. Yeah, he got slapped so hard that his mother shivered. Wherever she is. I hope she's still alive if she's not ripping pickles. But if she is, she felt that. If she's not no longer on this particular plane, wherever universe, whatever reality she's in, she still felt it. He almost became extinct with that slap. He almost just disappeared from from this timeline. Mandela effect. Mandela effect. There is
what
no
happened
Gunther.
to Gunther? And people are like, "Who's Gunther?"
Who? What's a Gunther? Yeah.
Except for like 5 people that are like, wait, I remember him.
No, there was no Australian guy named Brunther. There was never some dude from Austria. You guys got it wrong.
No, Gunter. Jimmy slapped Gunter so hard that somewhere Ludwig Kaiser fell down.
Yeah, and then Kaiser he slapped Gunther so hard that Kaiser, wherever he is, he just, for some reason, he arched his back and was like, "I like for."
No.
Like, yeah, I don't know, man. That was a
Oh
slap. Like,
man.
it echoed. I can still hear it in my head. I'm gonna wake up tomorrow and
Yeah.
still hear that slap.
It was an epic slap. It was so good and so earned, and you felt every ounce of Jimmy's like brotherly familial righteousness in that hand.
No, he slapped the shit out of him. Turned around and was like, "Now run, tell that." Just like, he didn't say that, but I mean, he just gave him a look. Didn't even look. He turned his back to Gunther and went on by his night. I was like, okay. Now here's my prediction. Gunther laughed, by the way, after the slap happened. Like, once Jimmy was walking off in a huff, Gunther was laughing. So you know my man. If he's married, that poor woman. You know you know he into some shit. Okay, you know into some crazy shit.
Oh
But
no. No, we have Gunter, we have Ludwig Kaiser arching his back going, "Ah," and now we have Gunter into some kinky shit. Man, like all it takes is one slap and look where we were.
Look, he turned into an anime girl.
Oh no.
Oh man. But no, real talk. He slapped the piss out of him. So here's my prediction, and I told you this right after we watched this particular segment. I said to you, I think they might be going like the Rocky route, or basically like the underdog route, where he's got somebody close to him that he cares about. He's doubting himself. Bloodsport. Pick a movie. He's doubting himself like our hero is, and he's got like a brother or a close friend. It's usually a brother, though. You know how they go. And his brother competes. It's a kumite. He's gonna compete in the kumite, and then he gets destroyed. And then like the other brother, like, no, And so he's after that he's hell bent on avenging his brother. Like, it becomes more.
That'll end up being Jay's motivation, right? So that means next week Jimmy is getting obliterated.
Yes. Remember,
he won't be at WrestleMania. He's like,
exactly. Yes, and remember, I said when we saw that segment, I said, well, now I know what's going to be happening with Jimmy. Because remember, we were talking about what are they going to do with Jimmy, and I said I don't think they have any plans to do anything with Jimmy until after WrestleMania. Well, now he's going to be out probably indefinitely
in the hospital. Right?
Yeah, he's going to be out indefinitely because of what Gunther is going to do to him in that match. So it's gonna be the encouragement that's needed.
Right, and then like Jay will come out to try and help, but then Gunter just leaves, and Jimmy's on the mat going
Yeah, he's gonna sell a move the way Damian Priest sold.
Right.
Start twitching.
No, but I mean, like he's gonna just be a mess on the mat, and he'll be like half dead, and Jay will be like, "Jimmy, talk to me," and Jimmy will be like, "Beat him for me." You
come on, Oos. Oh, Oos, right, Oos. Yeah.
Right. That'll be amazing. All right, I'm here for it. Like, I'm totally here for that, because that might be the impetus, right? It's like, oh, what will light the fire under Jey Uso to clear out all doubt is blind, righteous hatred. So that will be amazing.
Rage. So then the underdog just trains and does what he can until it's time for the match. And so basically, they're kind of doing what they did with Sammy, and Gunther. But I think people are gonna be like they're. I think they're gonna go all in on this one.
It'll be a
Like all in.
montage. It'll be like, it is the eye of the Uso. It's the yeet of the fight.
Oh
You
my
know what I
god!
mean? It'll be
Amazing.
awesome.
No,
It'll
that's
show him running
no.
up to the top of some steps in Philadelphia, and he'll be like, Jimmy.
Oh my god! Let's not even ignore that amazing. That's a fantastic song you just did there. I
Thank you.
applaud this. Yeah, fantastic. We gotta write that down. We're gonna cut that. We're gonna cut that song.
The eye of the Uso.
Yes, fantastic. Sensational.
I like it. No, I'm really hyped. Like now, I want to see it play out that way. That'll be so good.
Yeah,
But moving on from the slap heard around the entirety of Glasgow,
I still
like
hear
that was the real Glasgow kiss right there.
it.
Dominic Mysterio walks up to Penta El Zero Miedo.
Ooh.
You're booing Dominic, right?
Oh yeah.
Okay, good. Just making sure. But he walks up to Penta and he makes him an offer to join the Judgment Day. And it looks like Penta's going to be like, well, about that, you see. And Dom says, no, no, no. He can help Penta become the Intercontinental Champion tonight. Think about it. And then I think he said, think about it in Spanish or something equivalent and walks away.
Yeah.
And that takes us into the next segment, which is Adam Pearce in the ring. And he more or less says, we're officially on the road to WrestleMania, ladies and gentlemen. In my hand, I have the contract with the Women's World Championship match at WrestleMania between Bianca Belair and Io Sky. Last week, Rhea Ripley came out here and she thought it was appropriate to start a fight, then pick a pin up off the mat, scribble her signature onto this contract as if that makes anything official. I can assure you, ladies and gentlemen, and I want to make this crystal clear, Rhea Ripley is not in the match. You can boo if you want, but that match is Io Sky versus Bianca Belair. Furthermore, the signature that Rhea put on this contract, it means nothing. Nothing. Because Miss Ripley already knows she has a rematch. A rematch, by the way, that he's been trying to, get her to commit to for the past few weeks. And in the meantime, Bianca Belair won the Elimination Chamber and earned the right to call herself number one contender. So that's the issue. Bianca earned her opportunity and Rhea is owed one, but she wants it on her time. Well, that's just not going to work. And then Io Sky starts to make her way down to the ring. Her music plays. She gets her full entrance. And she says that she doesn't care about contracts. Rhea Ripley, Bianca Belair, it doesn't matter who it is. She'll take both of them because she's the women's world champion. And Adam goes on to say, well, I appreciate that. I know you're a fighting champion, but just hear me out for a second. And then he's interrupted again, now this time by Bianca Belair's music. And you can see Adam getting visibly flustered with each interruption. And Bianca comes out. And she grabs the mic and she says, actually, I'll let you read. You say what Bianca said. Because I don't think I can do it justice.
Okay. Let's see. Let me. Me. No. Well, hold on. Because I think she says, "Oh yeah, there it is." So Io Sky's like, I don't care about contracts, and they made her say Rhea Ripley and Bianca Belair. They made her say that. How dare they?
Yeah.
She took it all in stride, my girl. She really did. But if I were her, I would have been like, y'all wrong for this shit. That would have been my personal feels about it. But after she said what she said, and Adam Pearce says, I appreciate that. I know you're a fighting champion, but just hear me out for a second. Bianca Belair goes, oh, girl, hold up. No, Pierce, you were right. I earned that number one contender spot, and I went through Elimination Chamber to get to WrestleMania. So, I am not about to let Rhea headbutt her way into this match. If she did not earn it, then she does not deserve it. There you go.
To which Adam responds, "Look, I understand that and I agree, but if you could just let me," and then the music, "This Is My Brutality," kicks on, and Pierce
Yeah.
just like, "Oh, Jesus," is the look on his face. And Rhea Ripley comes out. And then she makes her way into the ring and picks up a microphone. And she says, "Honestly, I don't give a damn about WrestleMania, and I don't care who I have to go through to get my title back. All I want is my rematch." And Pierce is like, "Oh, now you want your rematch? We've been talking about it for weeks." And then Bianca's like, "You want a rematch? Well, Rhea, you already waited 3 weeks, so you can just wait 3 more, and then you can get your rematch after WrestleMania with me." Yeah, with me. I said what I said.
Say what I
And
said.
and then Io is like, "Well, now hold up. Everybody's talking about this title that is mine." And so she steps up to get like into it, and once again Io gets pie faced, this time by Rhea Ripley. So officially Io Sky is like the most disrespected women's champion of all
Seriously.
time already. And so Adam has had enough. And so he shouts literally that. He's like, "Enough, enough, enough." He's ready to start backhanding some women. And he says, "Now I'm glad you're all here because I have a solution. If you give me a second, next week you get your rematch that you wanted, and then the winner of that rematch faces Bianca Belair at WrestleMania. Ladies, thank you. Have a very nice Monday." And then he just sighs, and you can practically see him thinking that he needs a drink and gets out of the ring and walks like in a huff away.
Yeah, he's gonna go beat somebody.
And Bianca and Rhea continue to bicker with each other, and then it breaks out into kind of a fight between, like a three-way dance between Io and Bianca and Rhea. And Rhea did not get the better end of any of it. Like every move that was happening, like Io drops Rhea with a leaping DDT. Bianca then rocks Io with a big forearm, and she goes for the KOD, but Io counters with an arm drag, which tossed like Bianca towards Rhea, who was in the corner. She big boots her, and then she goes for like a big suplex to Io, but like a belly to back one, and Io lands on her feet. And then Io hits Rhea with a big shote, that uppercut that she does.
Yeah.
And and then Bianca grabs Io from behind, and it looks like she's gonna go for like the glam slam or the jaded, but Io blocks that. And then Bianca ends up clotheslining Rhea over the top rope. So Rhea's just getting bam, 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 like as everyone's fighting. And then Io slams Bianca's head on the top rope and then does like a. On the outside of the ring, she ends up stepping and she climbs the steel steps and does like a flying Hurricane Rana to Rhea. And then she does a springboard missile drop kick back into the ring, but Bianca avoids it. And then she delivers. She picks up Io to do a KOD again, but this time she walks her over to the ropes and yeets her over, as if she were giving the KOD to Io. But she lands on Rhea again. So Rhea just kept getting it one after the other. And it leaves Bianca standing in the ring posing with the Women's World Championship. So, I mean, I don't know. Is that a prediction, you think? Maybe like, hey, Bianca's going to win this thing.
You know what? I don't know. I know that the audience was not for Bianca tonight. I know that. They made it clear with their boos that they were not happy about her. So, I don't know. I don't know how this is gonna turn out.
Yeah, I'm not sure. But remember last week when I made a weird prediction that I think Bianca Belair will end up being the special guest referee between Jade and Naomi just because the pathos involved in
I
that?
sure do. Yeah.
Like she's split down the middle between her two warring friends. I was like, that
Yeah.
would be a perfect time for a special guest ref situation with Bianca. Well, I don't know if WWE heard that or if we're on the same like psychic wavelength or some shit. Because they go on to announce that Bianca Belair is going to be the special guest referee in the
Yeah.
rematch between Io Sky and Rhea Ripley. And I'm like, I found that uncanny because special guest referee matches are really, really rare.
Yeah.
Like and yet now they're giving her a special guest referee match after I just made that prediction. It's not the match I thought it would be for, but I thought that was just crazy coincidence.
Yeah.
So that's pretty interesting. And we'll see how that goes. I mean, I guess that basically leaves Bianca Belair to pick who she wants to face at WrestleMania. Like, because she's the ref. If she wants Io to win, then she can count fast. If she wants Rhea to win, she can count fast, or the vice versa. So she more or less is getting to choose her opponent at WrestleMania.
Yeah, and I think that's pretty awesome. I like where they're going with this so far.
Certainly drama. It could be very interesting. Then we're given a brief vignette of the War Raiders. They're very cool.
Yeah.
And then we are taken to Adam Pearce's office where he's looking still flustered from, having to deal with those awful, awful females. Oh, Adam
And
Pearce,
women.
your life is so hard. And his mood doesn't improve when the New Day storms into the office and demands a shot for the World Tag Titles at WrestleMania. And Pierce goes on to tell them that when New Day is ready to earn an opportunity, then they can discuss business. In the meantime, don't let the door hit them where the good Lord split them. And Woods says to Pierce that he needs to take his blood pressure medication, and Pierce says, "I will. Get me a glass of water." And that leads us into the third match, and I feel like I've been saying quite a bit here, so I'm going to turn it over to you. This third match.
The third match of the night was El Grande Americano versus Dragon Lee with Rey Mysterio. And this one was fun. I don't know how far they're gonna go with this, with the El Grande Americano, but I'm here for it, man. It was pretty short, the match, but we got to see Chad Gable at his funnest, honestly. The mask on the mask on his face moving. I don't know what the deal is with that. I don't know if they just haven't found the right fit for his mask yet. Maybe he's got a little melon, an oddly shaped melon. I don't know. But whatever the case, I think it's pretty funny that pretty much by the end of the match, his mask was damn near sideways.
Yeah, it was pretty crooked. Yeah.
But this match was pretty short and sweet, and you got to see a lot of what Chad Gable has quote unquote learned as his new formed power as Lucha.
And there was one point in this match where Michael Cole was trying to say Lucha Libre, and instead he said Lucha Libre, and it was great. I think Pat gave him grief over it too, but we were just like in tears. It's like, wait, what? Lucha Libre? What is that? Is that got anything to do with Lucha Libre, my friend?
I absolutely love Lucha Libre. Lucha Libre is my absolute favorite.
Yeah, me too.
Lucha Bube.
Yeah, yep. It's just whatever, you know.
Yeah.
Lubu
Pipe.
But picking up some of the highlights of this match, it was, like you said, it wasn't like a particularly long match, but they did a lot of stuff. And some of the highlights in this match, there was a point where El Grande Americano hit Dragon Lee with an exploder suplex while they were both on the apron, and he literally just threw him to the floor. and that was an insane bump. And then later in the match, Americano throws a belly-to-belly suplex, basically pitching Lee into the turnbuckles, and that was a great spot as well. And later in the match, Dragon Lee managed to successfully land his sort of float over Liger powerbomb, and it looked great. The float over could be better, but the actual powerbomb was sick. And and there was one where we thought Dragon Lee ended up hurting his knee because he had Chad Gable kind of sitting on the top rope, and then he pushes him back, so that he falls kind of backwards. So he's almost in a tree of woe, but it's on the apron side, not inside the ring.
Mm-hmm.
And he climbs up and he does a flying double foot stomp to Americano, I should say, on the apron. But then he continues on to the floor. Dragon Lee does, and after that, he's kind of holding on to his knee. But the spot was pretty sick.
Yeah.
And ultimately, the way this match ends up playing out is basically Lee gets Americano back into kind of a tree of woe position, and he goes to climb up and maybe do like another stomp, but this time Americano just ain't having it, so he muscles up. He kind of just like does a powerful sit up and grabs a hold of Dragon Lee's mask, and then like immediately like goes backwards with it, which not only slams Dragon Lee to the mat, but it rips Dragon Lee's mask completely off. And I don't know about you, but I didn't see his face or anything. I can confirm that Dragon Lee, has short black hair, but so Dragon Lee is like putting his hands over his face and basically lying face down because as a luchador, he doesn't want anyone to actually see his face. And so capitalizing on that, Americano puts Lee into an ankle lock. Completely coincidental that he uses the ankle lock. It's totally not Chad Gable. And of course, Dragon Lee, not really able to effectively fight back, submits. And that's how Americano, El Grande Americano, the legend, the myth, makes his debut in the WWE. Again, totally not Chad Gable, who was out sick. He had a doctor's note.
Yeah. Totally not questioning it.
Indeed. And then, you can't. He's got an alibi for every single time. Conspiracy theorists, just calm down.
Yeah, for real.
Then we get a video recap of like kind of the events that led up to where we're at with Roman Reigns, CM Punk, and Seth Rollins, including the entirety of the segment from SmackDown. And then we find out that Seth Rollins is going to be like a special guest co-host for something having to do with football tomorrow. If you're into football, cool. Me, I'm like, okay, more stuff that doesn't have anything to do with the Raw episode. Then we had a CM Punk promo, and I'm going to turn it over to you for this because I think at this point I opted to try and take a restroom break. So I'm not sure if I caught all of what CM Punk had to say, but surprisingly, I left when CM Punk was coming out. And by the time I got back, they hadn't returned to him in the ring. Like they had cut to a commercial. There was so much commercial. Man, WWE, please. Like, since you've gone to Netflix, the amount of non-Raw stuff on Raw, including commercial breaks, both in and out of the show, is excessive. There, that's it.
Yeah.
I turn it over to you.
So CM Punk, much like John Cena, did come out here and cut a much longer promo than he needed to, because his sole purpose, honestly, was to come out here and let everybody know that there was going to be a contract signing between him, Roman Reigns, and Seth freaking Rollins. this Friday in London at SmackDown. And people booed that, and he's like, "You're booing because..." He's like, "Why are you booing? Because you're booing because you wanted it to be here. So did I, and that's why I'm here. I cannot wait to get my hands on this contract. I want to read the fine print, and I want to see if this contract, if this match gets me any closer to what I want, or if it's going to be another rugged pull from the powers that be. So Seth, Roman, fuel up the jet, since you couldn't grace us here with your presence in front of all my friends here in Glasgow. I'll see you at the contract signing in London. But before you put pen to paper, I want you to listen to two things and understand that, yeah, you understand them very well. One, neither of you have ever defeated me without the other one's help, because you can't. And the last thing, I brought into this business, I cannot wait to be the man that takes you both out of it. He brought them into the business, can't wait to take them both out of it. Best in the world. Mic drop. So that really does sum up what he wanted to say, which was the contract signing is going to be on SmackDown in London, and that he just wanted to let them know that he was best in the world and he's going to win. He's like, regardless, he's here. He ain't going nowhere. The end. And that was pretty much that promo.
And also that Seth Rollins is the undisputed black belt heavyweight champion of being a little diaper piss baby. That's a quote.
That's right. Yeah, that is a quote, which had me rolling. I don't know who's been writing CM Punk's shit lately, but man, it has been hilarious. Like, that dude's been cracking me up, calling people grimace out here.
Yeah, the grimace line was good. That one was a zinger.
Yeah, he's calling people piss babies. Like, I don't know what is happening.
It's
but
certainly better written than The Rock and John Cena. That's for sure.
Yeah, it was. Even though his promo went on a little bit longer than need be, it was not a 20-minute slog fest of "you guys suck," even though you've given me everything I wanted. So, yeah. I thought this was a pretty excuse me. I thought it was pretty entertaining, and short and sweet. I like the fact that it was shorter than everybody else's. How about that? And it ended up still being entertaining.
But it wasn't shorter than everybody else.
Not everybody's, but for the most part, it was.
For the most part,
the shortest promo that happened there.
Yes. Well, yes. Because we had, immediately following that, we had a promo that was a video promo from Logan Paul. And Logan Paul wins the prize for being short, sweet, and to the point. Logan Paul basically says that what AJ Styles did to him at Madison Square Garden was completely unacceptable, and he'll never forgive him for it. And next week, he's going to call him out, and he intends to beat his ass.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
And that was it. Perfect promo.
Yep, that was it. And then they reminded us after that Gunther's gonna beat the snot out of Jimmy.
Oh man, Jimmy's gonna get beat up so bad now.
We'll have yet another confrontation with Cody Rhodes and John Cena. And Io Sky was gonna put her Women's World Championship on the line against Rhea Ripley, with Bianca Belair serving as the special guest referee.
Two of those things I'm very interested in. One of those things might make me like fast forward through it. You want to wager a guess which?
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. After that, Braun Breaker tells Kathy Kelly that he's not concerned whether or not Penta joins the Judgment Day. She asked about that, and he was like, "I can't be worrying about that. He's gonna take care of business, and he's gonna be just fine because the dogs will be barking in Glasgow."
Which brings us to the fourth and final match of the night. Braun Breaker versus Penta for the WWE Intercontinental Championship. And this was probably one of the better matches of the night. I'm not sure if I think it was the best match of the night, but it was one of the better matches.
Yeah.
Penta and Breaker actually showed some good chemistry in there, and it wasn't a situation like Penta. They introduced him at like 86 or 87 kilos, which translates into like maybe 190 pounds versus Braun Breaker's like 250. So he's given up quite a bit of size here. And so, unlike most, Penta actually wasn't just like beaten to death by Breaker's power, although he was getting his. He was given back too.
Yeah.
Just to pick out some of the high spots in this match, Breaker hit a sick-looking apron lariat where he jumps from the apron onto Penta, who's resting kind of up against the announce table, and they both end up going over the table, and it looked gross.
Yeah.
And there was another point where Breaker had Penta in the middle of the ring and was attempting to do the crisscross spear, but Penta countered with like a nasty looking super kick. Like it was a super kick that Breaker built up speed to eat. It was nasty.
Yeah.
Later in the match, Breaker attempts to do an overhead press into like a double knee gut buster, but Penta countered it into a backstabber that was a phenomenal counter. And a little later, Breaker actually hits the double knee gutbuster by overhead pressing Penta and then dropping him onto his knees. Penta ended up landing a tope con hio on Breaker that looked really good. Like he literally didn't touch the ropes; he flew right over the top, and it was perfect. And Breaker got drilled after he initially countered the first attempt at the Mexican Destroyer from Penta, but later he gets drilled with it, and like Breaker's sell of the Mexican Destroyer was pretty good because he fully flips, but then he kind of comes back up on his knees, and it looks like he's gotten nut cross-eyed, and then he falls flat to the mat. It was good.
Yeah.
And ultimately, what happens here is right as it's looking like Breaker is about to maybe finish off Penta, or is at least gaining enough momentum. Somewhere during the match, Dom and Carlito have made their way to ringside. And initially, they're just watching. But once it looks like Breaker is getting, kind of the one-up on Penta late in the match, Dominic Mysterio fully interferes, attacking Braun Breaker and getting the match disqualified. So that's twice now that Dominic Mysterio has completely cost somebody, first Finn and now Penta, their Intercontinental title opportunities with his interference. And Dom and Carlito start beating on Breaker, and Dom ends up getting a chair and hitting several chair shots. Oh, actually, no, he's beating on Breaker, but then it looks like Breaker's going to turn it around on Dominic Mysterio, and that's when Finn Balor shows up and attacks Breaker with a steel chair. Then Balor gives the chair to Dominic Mysterio, and Dom repeatedly drives the chair into the midsection of Breaker. And then Dominic tries to hand the chair over to Penta, and Breaker's just sort of there on his knees waiting to see if Penta's going to hit the crap out of him. And Penta's holding on to the chair, but then he throws it to Dom, who catches it, and then Penta super kicks the chair into Dominic's face. And so that forces Balor to attack Penta, and he basically ends up stomping Penta, and then he picks up the chair and turns around and hits Breaker, which sends Breaker out of the ring. And then Balor's able to hit the coup de grace on Penta. And so we end up with the show going off the air with the Judgment Day standing over Penta El Cero Miedo.
Yeah.
But Braun Breaker still retains his championship. this time, once again through disqualification.
Yeah. And I thought the last match here was a fun little ender. Finn. I don't know what they're doing with Finn. I don't know what they're doing with Judgment Day, but that is a really good looking heel organization. I feel like they got the right idea. Uh, and I remember when we didn't know what they were doing with Judgment Day. I
I
remember
do.
we were concerned about it, and somehow they've pulled it through. Like Liv is shining bright, Finn's shining bright. Uh, hopefully, JD can come back and get back in the ring and do his thing. But honestly, the Judgment Day is looking good.
Well, and not for nothing. I mean, we often would say like, what are they going to do without Priest or Rhea? And right
Yep,
now, Priest and Rhea
exactly.
are on the down. Rhea's lost her belt, and in the segment
Yeah.
tonight, Rhea was almost the butt of a long running joke where she kept getting hit by every move. And then on the SmackDown proceeding, Damian Priest was showing us what like a seizure looks like after he got hit in the back of the head with a claymore. So it's not looking great for either of those two that were like, the reason to look at the Judgment Day.
Yeah.
So I agree with you wholeheartedly. I only point out like where Rhea and Priest are because it was like, well, what's Judgment Day without them? Well, right now they're on the up and Priest and Rhea are on the down, so it's kind of looking better for Judgment Day.
Yeah.
So I agree. I'm glad if they want to keep the Judgment Day moving. It seems like it's going in the right direction, and I'm absolutely intrigued by a Penta and Finn rivalry. Although I'm hoping it's not going to just lead to a Penta and Finn versus Braun Breaker in a triple threat match kind of a thing. Because
Yeah, no more triple matches.
WWE has been like super heavily leaning on these triple threat matches lately.
Yeah,
I think we have two of them, or potentially two of them, lined up already in WrestleMania.
we do.
Um, so maybe not more triple threat matches. Like
Yeah.
I don't dislike triple threat matches, but they can't all be triple threat matches. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah,
there's a lot.
absolutely.
There's a wealth of triple threat match going on,
I
and there's
absolutely agree with you.
so many other match types. Um, but all of that said, how would you rate this episode of WWE Raw?
Man, this is tricky. Because there were plenty of things that I did enjoy from this particular episode, but there was quite a few things that I didn't care for too much. For example, the biggest highlight to my uh displeasure would be John Cena and his promos. And it's not because he's gone heel, it's because he's gone heel poorly. Like I'm just not into what he said so far. I'm not into how he's going about this. I'm not into the repetitiveness. And if they had at least given us the benefit of making his promo short, but they didn't. He came out there and just vomited from the mouth for like 30 freaking minutes. No, thank you. That's your opener. No, thank you. So even if I was gonna even if I was gonna call this episode top tier, um, I would have to take away just enough points so that it wouldn't be top tier, but it would still be good. So I would give this, if top tier for me is an 80, I would give this one a big fat 78. Um, because it just missed the mark, and it did so by giving us an incoherent mess of a promo from John Cena, uh, and just I'm sorry, not an incoherent, just a bitch fest. That's what it was. Just a repetitive, like a repetitive bitch fest that we've heard before, and now you decided that you want to open your show with that. Um, no, 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 no. So just for that alone, I'm not even gonna go through any of the other matches. I'm gonna say that this would have been an 80 or more had John Cena not been John Cena, or this version of John Cena tonight. Had he not been that, then this would have been a top tier episode. So whatever I could do to make it just out of the reach of top tier, that's what I'm gonna do. 78, 79.
I can dig it. All right. I think that's fair. For me, I kind of gave away my rating at the beginning. I said this is not top tier, and it isn't. And it's exclusively for two reasons, which I also stated. These John Cena promos, again, not because of the content and not because of how John Cena is doing his heel thing, but because these are very, very poorly written, and they are long, and they are incredibly boring, and they just make it a slog to care about this angle that you're building, and it makes it a slog to even get through the show. But not more so than the excessive amount of cross promotional and commercial breaky and in show commercial bullshit. Uh, Taken together, if I was not hosting a podcast about pro wrestling, I probably wouldn't have made it through this episode of Raw, because it would have tried my patience so hard that I'd been like, I don't care. I'll just catch it on highlights or read or something. Because the excessive amounts of, like, both in and out of show promotional material that has nothing to do with the show that I'm watching, add into that recaps, add into that long-winded stories and tales from just Pat McAfee, an announcer. I mean, just all the crap that has nothing to do with why I'm looking at Raw. It was a slog. It really was difficult. That's 2 for 2. This one and the last one made it rough. There's something about Raw it's certainly noticeable as of the past 2 episodes. Maybe it started as soon as they came to Netflix, but I didn't feel it until the last 2 episodes. But the commercial breaks and the side content that is not directly related to the show itself is excessive. Like, I was under the impression that Raw is booked for 3-hour time slot with maybe 30 minutes of commercial stuff. But I think if you racked it all up, you lose at least an hour, if not an hour and a half total. And this is on a show where we get 4 matches and some promos in 3 hours. And it wasn't all a winner. Like, that John Cena opener was atrocious. And I went into great detail at the beginning, so I won't belabor the point. Learn from that, John Cena. Maybe you should try it. If the commercials and John Cena weren't in this, I would say it's probably an 8.5. It would have been top tier easy.
Yeah.
With those things in it, it drops a full 2 points down to a 6.5 for me. And I'm sorry. I mean, I hate to ding the stuff that was good because of the crap that was bad, but you packaged it all together, and I'm reviewing the show as a whole. Yep. I would not recommend the last 2 episodes of Raw to somebody who maybe was like, hey, you run a podcast. I'm new to wrestling. What do you recommend I watch? I wouldn't pick these last 2 episodes of Raw for fuck sure.
Yeah.
So, not top tier. That said, I want to thank everybody who listened for this episode, and hopefully you will join us for the next episode. Until then, there is not much left for me to do but to roll the outro.
Bye, guys.
Thanks for tuning in to this episode of Top Tier Wrestling. We hope you enjoyed our deep dive into the latest AEW and WWE news and shows. Don't forget to subscribe to our podcast so you never miss an episode. Follow us on social media for updates and to join the conversation. Until next time, everyone, remember, wrestling is always better when it's top tier.